Hello everyone, welcome to video 3. In this segment I will go over your speeches, giving you a general overview of what I'm looking for in each one, how to tape them and so you can put them into the discussion box, and how I'll evaluate them. First, you should have received in your packet speech assignments, and each one of these spells out what I'm looking for and what you're going to do. I'm actually going to do a separate video going over each one of these in detail and giving you some examples of the different types of what other students have done in the past. But on this one, I'm really just trying to give you some hints and advice of what to do. First, every one of your speeches have a time limit. Your first one is 3 to 5. Within that time limit, I'd recommend you try to hit that midpoint. For example, on your introductory, it's 4 minutes. So you want to practice. You'll want to have, I don't require outlines for your first 2 speeches. However, I do require an outline for your demonstrative, informative, and persuasive. I've actually sent you also an outline format. I want you to follow this verbatim. I want you to have an introduction with the colon, several sentences, and then you're going to break it down into, you'll have your body of your paper will use your Roman numerals, your point A and B. If you have a point A, you need a point B. You may have subpoints. It shows you how to list those. It shows you the spacing. And then you're going to have a conclusion, several sentences as well. And that is really how you're going to set up your speech. You're going to, for all your speeches, you're going to start out telling, with a greeting, like good morning, hello everyone, tell us who you are. Tell us the purpose, what you're going to be giving in your speech, and then you're really going to, that's part of your introduction, and then you're going to go into the meat of your presentation, and then you'll sort of cue us at the end in summary and conclusion, and I want a good strong summary and conclusion. And then for the last, your informative and persuasive speech, you will require to have citations, which the very last page, I give you the format for that. And that is actually, you have to do that in MLA format. And I will give you more detailed information when we cover the informative and demonstrative, informative and persuasive speeches. Now, part of your assignments in Dropbox, you actually have one that's due on March 26th. I'm asking you to come up with your speech topic ideas for your personal experience, your demonstrative, your informative, and persuasive. As I mentioned in an earlier video, I want you to talk on what you know. So on this one, I just want you, so there's not a lot of details I'm wanting there. Like, I'll give you an example again, like, for persuasive, I'd type out personal experience speech, like my trip to Florida or something like that. Demonstrative speech, and then space, and say like how to change a tire, or how to play the piano, or how to give some hints on how to use sign language. It's a how-to type video. Informative, you're going to talk on a subject, like you can tell us about Dolly Parton, or the 7 natural wonders of the world, something like that. And then a persuasive speech on like drinking water for a month, or donating to a particular charity, something like that. And then those are the 4 I want you to give me your ideas. This way it allows me to see if I feel like that you're going to reach your audience. This is appropriate for the audience for this class. And that way I'm not asking you to change your topic or something last minute. Now, when you're giving these speeches, every one of them, I ask that you use note cards to keep you on track, especially when you're using for your informative and persuasive. You may want to quote someone, so I want to make sure you do that accurately. As I mentioned earlier, for your on your note cards, to put them, use a larger font so that you're not like reading them this way and not looking at your audience. Also, visual aids, as I mentioned earlier, those are very important. I do require you to use at least 3. You may want to use more. Depending on how you're able to tape your videos. For example, my laptop is not allowing me to use the camera, so I'm having to use my phone. So it's hard for me to share a screen and use PowerPoint. Now, if you're able to, great, if you want to use PowerPoint. But I do, like I said, I do require you to use at least 3 visual aids. That's props. If you're using a prop, you want to hold it up to the screen for a while. Give us like 3 seconds or so that your audience can see it. You may have to put it closer to the camera so that if it's a picture or something that you're using. But the key thing is that make sure your classmates can see your visual aids clearly. Now, when I'm asking all of you to use the YouTube and submit your videos, so you'll need to do your video, and then you'll want to copy the link and post that as a new thread under each particular speech category. And then once you do that, I request for the first speech, I ask for you to view all of the submissions, because I consider that your audience analysis. And then on the remaining, the demonstrative, informative, and persuasive, I have divided you into 2 groups, Group A and Group B. And I ask that you each view those. If for some reason someone doesn't submit, I hope that doesn't happen because you lose a lot of points. So, then I ask for you to view your other some of the submissions from the other groups, to view a total of 8, because there's 9 in a group, how I have it set up. Now, also within the discussion, on the discussion boards, I ask that you reply to, I think, at least 3 of your students, and it further explains what I'm looking for in those and what you're to submit under that area. Now, I also will ask you to self-evaluate for all of your speeches except for reading the children's story. And you're going to submit those self-evaluations within the Dropbox. And I've given you a date of when each one of those are due. And then and I've given you a list of questions to cover. So on the Dropbox submissions. Now, some things to look for also. Now, I will evaluate your speeches, and I'm using a sheet that typically I use for all mine. And what I'm going to do is just write this up, and I will, when I post your grades, there's a section within the grades that I can give you feedback. For example, you need to work on your vocal variety, or you need to breathe, or you need to work at speaking at a steady pace. Things like that. So those are different things and those are things that your classmates can point out too if they notice. The key thing is, the more feedback you get, I feel like that'll help you better prepare while you're practicing for your next speech. Now, some things to look at when you're giving your speeches in general would be to, work on your vocal variety, smile, breathe. That's very important. That sometimes goes right into talking at a steady pace, slowing down. It happens when you're nervous. Using less filler words, that's something that we do naturally. I tell students, when I'm evaluating, if I notice someone has said the word "so" 36 times, I sort of will count that. I'll note that, but I do not count against that. But those are things I want you to work on for your next speeches. I give you grace, and especially give you a lot of grace on these first couple, since these are being taped. It's a little different. Now, the nice thing, as I mentioned earlier, is that you can take this 3 or 4 times and give the best submission. Where if we were doing this live, you get 1 shot and that's it. Now, also back to refer back to the outlines. The outlines and I mentioned earlier in a previous speech, I'll mention it again and probably again as well, about that is your roadmap. So you want to work on these as soon as you can, and then submit them sooner than later, so that way I can give you feedback if there's, I need to have you make any changes. So in summary on this, I want you to go ahead and read through the speech assignments, make a note of each one of the topics, and an idea for each area, and submit that in the Dropbox. And then start working on your outlines for the, especially when you hit for your demonstrative, informative, persuasive speeches. And then practice. All right, that's all I have for this segment. And you'll probably see me next on Speech Critiques. Have a good day.